Alright, Mr. Gatekeeper here. What we have here are two eBay specials. A buddy of mine purchased both of these from eBay. And we don't know anything about them. We don't know if they work. We don't know nothing. So we're going to do a full inquiry and look at everything. I do notice off the bat, this looks like really good flexible wire. I really love how flexible this is. There's a reason why this wire is this flexible. It's because it's aluminum clad wire. CCA. Copper clad aluminum wire. And you can tell just by looking at it, it's got that particular shine, and you can see how the solder did not flow evenly. So yeah, this stuff's coming out. When you try to solder this stuff, man, it can leave a black residue in your soldering iron that literally you have to scrape off. But you know, I know a lot of people don't know the difference of both of these wires, so we'll be doing a power wire upgrade to both of these amplifiers for them. May even be doing a fan kit possibly. Some new fan kits I'm gonna start probably stocking up on for my buddy Mr. Beard. And we'll be doing a power wire upgrade of this as well. If you notice and look, what is this? Well, it's common evidence that what this is this was sitting on something, and the heat sink got so hot that it melted into whatever it was sitting on. I remember when I first got into radio, I had one of my 667s literally sear itself into my carpet in my car. And when I tried to pick it up, I had to pry it up. Oh boy. So yeah, I don't know what's going to look like inside of here. Let's see in this right here. All right, so let's dig into these bad boys. Which one are we going to dig into first? I say the Killer Bee. And I do notice too that the just looking at wear and tear, the front faceplate looks great. So I don't see any reason why I'll need to be replacing that. The front faceplate on this one looks really well too. There may be just a few little skirmishes right here at the end, but it looks pretty good. Could use a top 10. Definitely could use a new top 10. We'll talk about that with the customer. I do have a few tops for these laying around. This top 10 looks okay. It's a little rusted, but a little dented. I don't know exactly if he's trying to bring these back into pure prestige condition or what, but we'll see. This back's a little dirty. We're going to clean all that. We'll plug that hole in the back. A little dented. Now the heat sinks themselves looks fine, as in they're not bent or anything like that. So let's dig into this Killer Bee first.
Marconi Communication Systems Limited. 88 he was at Marconi Communication Systems, and then in 93 he went to British Aerospace, and from 93 to the present he's been with Siemens Plessey, which is another major British aerospace company. His specialty is radar and microwave systems engineering. He knows what he's talking about, and there's no way on God's earth this guy would pull a hose. No way.
All right, so that's Paul Dorr. He's no longer anonymous. Then we get this message that I've got that seems, you know, as I read it, I'm a ham, I'm slightly familiar, it reads as real. Or it reads as somebody, if it's a hoax, who knew damn well what they were talking about. No question about it. You know, this is significant email I've got here now from near Normandy. Now, you're telling me, to summarize, that they're also looking at this in Germany.
At the Effelsberg radio telescope, which is the biggest dish in Europe, steerable, 300 feet.
Right, confirming what Dor is saying, and they're
It don't look too bad.
Press conference,
But before we put any RF in this cotton jobber, what are we going to do first, everybody?
And tell all.
What are we going to do first?
I presume they'll have wonderful Doppler plots, and at that point, unless somebody...
We're going to check the bias and make sure the bias circuit is good. So let's do that.
Okay, and once again, we also now know, or think we know,
and it's receiving, in other words, that he has, fine enough tuning, if you will,
right,
to be able to see the Doppler shift of our own Earth, which is rather small. It's like less than 1 hertz per second, and that means you have to have filters there that are down around 1 hertz in width, and very few amateurs will have anything like that. As
you don't say the signal is
a little high.
Of course, on a 4.5 meter dish, it would be.
Yeah, well, the other fellow had a 10-meter dish.
A little
so that's
high.
A factor of 4, and that's 6 dB down.
So we'll fix that.
Not so much. The other guy,
3 dB is half.
Tremendous hurry to get these GIFs up there.
Very excited, yeah.
And he accidentally put the same one up twice, although he did manage to shift it 30 or 50 pixels, which I find is kind of interesting. So the point is that every time that someone pointed out something wrong with these GIF files,
he seemed to change it.
He changed it,
yeah.
And you got to say that's something interesting. The next point is, what an incredible coincidence that he's claiming.
All right, that's a
EQ
lot more acceptable.
EQ Pegasus, because that was the source where.
Now we can inject some RF.
Interesting.
All right, brother, we got the bench radio, which is driving at what about 16 to 18 watts PEP. This is 250 watt slug PEP. So you're looking at the top scale. It's about 150 watts. The input looks great, so it shows me that we're going to we should be getting about 250. We're going to play around with the output. One thing I'm definitely going to do is I'm going to remove this cap right here and at least put a DM19 cap on it, if not a metal. We'll see. I do have some metals laying around. We do a couple other odds and end things I always do to these type of amps. We're going to solder all these right here so they never oxidize later on, not make a good connection for your lights. And we'll clean the amp up for you, do your power wire upgrade, and probably replace this cap right here. I always like replacing this cap. And just some other little small things. I like removing these wires here and just replacing them with a little bit thicker Teflon. Really not that big of a need for it, but it's just something I like to do. I'll replace these wires with actual Teflon wire and all that good stuff. So let's dig in, man. Let's get this thing working and hopefully doing at least 250 watts PEP. We'll be back.
Bill Coronado. I just got this. Hi, Art. My sister-in-law actually works at the hotel. Bill Coronado as a concierge. She says the ghost stories are real, and you can, even if you wish it, rent. I repeat, you can rent the haunted room. That's from Jeff
that replaced for you.
Ohio. Wonder if that's really true. Thank you, Jeff. And by the way, for any of you who have ghost stories out there,
how tiny that is.
Just send me a fax and tempt me.
Super tiny.
Tell me how good it is.
I don't know what gauge that is. It's got to be like 38 gauge or something.
I will call you and get you on the air.
Super tiny.
Is area code 702-727.
All right, man. Took me a lot of Q-tips, but I got this thing clean. Very clean. I'm gonna put a ground from this screw right here to the board just for an extra safety. And this top right here was loose and came off, so I'm gonna have to glue that back on for you. Where did it go? Ooh, when I was putting your strain relief on, it fell off. I already saw that it was loose, which is very, very, very common with these killer bees. These lids come off all the time on these killer bees. The glue that's holding it on there just, you know, weakens over time. These are old amps, man. These are old amps. But anyway, we ain't got too much more to go. We're going to put your new output cap right here on the top, your compensation capacitor. Put your electrolytic on here, put your power wires in here, and glue that back on. Try to figure out a way to get all this crap off. I need to get me some, they make some stuff to get adhesive off. I may run up to Home Depot and see what they make for that. Still need to install your 5-watt 75 ohm resistor to replace these. They've gotten quite brown. That's just basically from someone having the green button in and driving it a little bit too hard. That's what that's from. And we'll be done. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Black Sheep. He said, "Hey man, I got an extra weller I think you'll really enjoy. Can I send it up to you?" And I'm like, well, heck, I ain't gonna turn down a weller, a soldering iron. So I got me a tip, and I'm gonna tell you what, man, I am very happy with this soldering iron. It is way, way, way stronger, way hotter than what I'm using my Haco 936. So I like it. I like it. I'm using it right now. So I'm done for tonight. We'll be back. We'll finish this bad boy up tomorrow, and then we'll get on the 350. Probably make that a separate video. Alrighty, here she goes. Yes, sir. We replaced this DM15 500 picofarad capacitor with a nice metal clad. I thought that'd just be best, just go ahead and do that. I could have put a DM19, but I'm like, let's just hook this guy up with an actual metal clad, man. And we got this thing fully cleaned. There's no flux left in this amplifier. This thing is, you can eat off of it, man. It's so clean. We fixed your faceplate of your meter right here. Glued that back on for you. Glued it against the case right here also, so that right there won't be falling off. Added you a 1000 electrolytic right there. This is what was on there. And this was what was feeding the DC voltage to the back of your transformer, which is going to both of the collectors of your transistors, your 22290s. And we replaced it with a 14 gauge wire, 4 wraps around a 43 core, which gives you a little bit more inductance to help that RF, help attenuate the RF on your DC line going back to your power supply. And as you see, we had you a little ground wire there, just a little thing I like to do. We replaced these two 150s, 150 ohm resistors, which is creating a 75 with a single 75 5-watt, which is like, it's pretty much what they do, you know, with the current 350s. And she was only doing like 150 watts, I believe, when we first started. I checked the output tuning cap. It was completely fine. I just left it. I think the wattage increase we're about to see after I show you this pretty much came from this right here. That's going to be my guess, because it was devalued a little bit. I think it was sitting right there around 340 or so picofarad, And then this right here is sitting like around 511, 515. So here's what you're seeing now, man. 250 watt slug. Off the Richter. Well, not off the Richter, but 250 watts PEP. Now take a look at this input tune. Oh, look at that, man. That is absolutely beautiful. Oh, man, that's nice. When you get a tune like this on a 2-transistor amplifier, you know it's tuned. Man, that's beautiful. That means all of your power is making it into these transistors and being amplified, and you only have a teensy-weensy bit coming back to your radio. 1,000 watt slug on the RMS scale, the average scale. Right there about 120 RMS. So this thing is doing what it's supposed to be doing, and she's ready to rock and roll. But I did offer you something that I just got in, and I only got 2 of them, and guess what? We got 2 Texas Star 350s. A fan kit. And this is something I haven't been able to do for 350s and 250s because of the direction of this. I've only done 1 fan kit that I can remember the whole time I've been doing this. And I had to go buy some L brackets and this and that. And you know, with a 400 to 667, it's a lot easier. I just take another top lid and do my thing. So my buddy over at Beard Amps hooked me up. And I mean, you just can't beat it. It's nice. So I'm going to start keeping these in stock and probably start painting them. That's what I'll probably start doing. For this, we'll just leave this be. So this is a full kit, hooking them up with a top lid and bottom lid. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install this connector right here for you in the back right here. And then this right here is what will be installed for your fan. And you'll just plug it up like so. And then I'll install the wires. Make sure to keep some RF, an RF choke on those wires to keep the RF off. Or I may just put the choke right here so that I'm gonna see how that looks. I don't want to choke just moving around, bouncing around. So we'll figure all that out. But I'm about to get started on that now and get this kit installed for you, and then we're jumping on the 350. So I'll be back, and I'll be back with the kit on there, and then also we'll hit it with a little bit bigger radio and see what it does with a little bit more drive. Alrighty, this bad boy's done. Sweet little case, man. I'll tell you what, man, my buddy over at Beard Amps, that Jugger's very crafty when it comes to metal work. God, that's one thing I wish I had when it comes to skills. Alright, got your fan back here labeled for you. Whenever you plug this in, just make sure that the power supply is off. I may start using RCA cables for this. Just make sure the power supply is off just to be safe. These are nice. These are really nice. Really nice. All right, man. Dude, in the corner. Ooh, we already showed you what everything's doing. Dude. All right. So now we're going to take that slug out. We're going to put ourselves a 500 watt slug in. These are just 2290s, y'all. So I would just drive it just like that right there, like you just saw. But we will hook up a little stronger radio just to see what she's going to do with a little bit more drive. I wish this was a little longer at times. Thing's squeaky. Squeaky. Alright. Let's turn on the old Stickman Cobra 29. Rest in peace, my brother. Alrighty. 500 watt slug now in effect. Middle scale. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, this thing's doing 350 watts. Wow. Let's take a look at the RMS. Ooh, about 160 to, yeah, about 160. Ooh, man, a little bit over 350. That thing is stroking, son. That thing is stroking. Let's see what this does on the relative output, RF relative output. Ooh. So she is finished up for you, man. Turned out great. This thing is prestige. The input is clean. You got your fresh tins on here, fresh fan kit, and that fan kit isn't loud at all. You can't even hear it, but it is blowing some good air. Get you some air in there, keeping air on that heat sink. That's what matters. I think what I'm gonna do is, since I like these so much, I'm gonna probably order a bulk of these and put in a faster fan, put a stronger fan, and then on the back here have something that comes up where you have your switch to have off, high, and low. High will be full bore. It'll be kind of loud. That could be something good for somebody who wants to run it in the back of a vehicle or just kind of away from you, and you're gonna sit there and be balls to walls. And then, or low could be like this right here. And it's good enough. You can feel the air coming out of it for sure. Man, this thing's clean, man. Very clean. I like it. And also I'll be able to paint these too. So looking forward to that. Alright, let's get off to your 350. I'm going to do that in another video since this is a long video already. Thanks for hanging in there with me, brother. For sure. Old gatekeeper out here around the northeast end of Georgia. Some people call me the Texas Star Doctor, or the old Texas Star Surgeon. I just call myself an old Georgia boy that loves tinkering around with a couple things out here on this end. Got the old gatekeeper out here around the northeast land of Georgia. We'll see you. Bye-bye, y'all. God bless. 73.